Hey guys, what's going on? Scrappy here, and today we have another VGC battle. This was on the rating battle system like always, and this one was extremely long. This one was 23 turns, so I kind of want to put it as a double battle, but as they were using VGC Pokemon and VGC like Kalos bred Pokemon, no illegal transfer move or anything like that, I'm going to put it as a VGC battle. So this is after the June IC, it ended, and I swapped out Gothitelle for Politoed, as you can see, because Gothitelle, I wasn't using it, I never used it in a single battle, and I added the Politoed because Malwa can actually survive a overheat from a Charizard Y in the rain. So that's why I added Politoed, just in case I couldn't set up the Trick Room safely. I have a backup with Politoed. So we're going to jump in straight into this battle and see how my lead of Rotom Heat and Scrafty fares against his with Amoonguss and Kangaskhan. Alright, so Brian is issuing a challenge. He is going to be leading with the Pokemon that I said he was going to, and I am with my Scrafty and Rotom. A pretty common lead that I have, actually. So I'm going to get the Intimidated off onto the Kangaskhan, which is really good, and Intimidated off to this Moongus. So I'm going to say this right now. I played horribly throughout this game. I had so many bad plays, but hopefully I can pull out a win throughout this battle. So Kangaskhan is going to Mega Evolve and just going to go for the Fake Out onto Rotom Heat. Understandable, knowing that the Overheat was most likely going to KO the Amoonguss or bring it down low enough. So I actually go for my own Fake Out onto this Amoonguss, and Amoonguss actually reveals that it has Effect Spore, which is terrific. So luckily I have the Lumberry, so I'm going to get rid of that Paralysis, which is really nice, and my Rotom is going to flinch. So, and the Amoonguss is also going to flinch and get the Black Sludge recovery, so no, the leftovers, my bad, which is going to be super annoying. So Amoonguss actually goes for the double for the protect, and I go for the double target onto it, which is really bad because Kang goes for the return and it does a lot of damage. So the overheat goes into Amoonguss's protect and the ice punch, which is super unfortunate because I thought that the Rage Powder was going to be happening, but unfortunately it didn't. So they're going to swap with my Rotom. I'm not feeling very comfortable about this already, and I swap into my Politoed and set up the rain. This was a really risky play, but I also swapped out my Scrafty and went into my Trevenant, knowing that maybe a Power-Up Punch was coming Scrafty's way, and maybe a Sludge Bomb was coming Politoed's. So Kangaskhan goes for Sucker Punch, but actually fails, and Amoonguss is going to go for the Spore and doesn't affect my Trevenant, which is really good. So now I'm going to protect with my Politoed. Just so I don't get any Giga Drain damage or anything like that. Amoonguss is actually going to go for the Rage Powder. I don't know, I'm pretty sure that this guy didn't know that Rage Powder doesn't affect grass types, but that's fine. So I go for the Will-O-Wisp onto Kangaskhan, so now I'm not worried about it at all. It's at -1 and has a burn, so it's not going to be doing very much damage. So here I swap out my Trevenant and go out into my Scrafty just to get the Intimidate and the Fake Out Pressure also onto the Amoonguss. I also get the Intimidate off onto the Kangaskhan, as I said, so it's not going to be doing as much damage. It's going to go for that return onto the Politoed. Luckily for my opponent, gets the critical hit, bringing my Politoed down to half. I'm going to go for the Encore onto Amoonguss. So now it's going to be locked into Rage Powder. So there it is, going for the Rage Powder again. And Kangaskhan is going to be taking more burn damage. So now my opponent obviously is going to withdraw Kangaskhan, not going to stay in at -2 and with a burn, and goes into his Aegislash. Good play for my opponent, but what I do is I swap out my Politoed and go out into my Trevenant. So Amoonguss is going to go for the Rage Powder on this turn. I'm going to go for the Taunt with my Scrafty onto the Amoonguss. So now it's locked into a move that it can't even use, so obviously I'm going to swap out. So my opponent, obviously, as I said, going to swap out the Amoonguss and go out into the Kangaskhan just to get the Fake Out Pressure and such back on. But here what I do is I protect with my Trevenant, and I go for the Taunt onto Aegislash so it can't King Shield or Substitute. So it's going to stance change and go for the Shadow Ball onto my Trevenant's Protect, and I get the Taunt on, which is really great. So the rain stops, it doesn't really matter, I don't really need the rain as of now, and Kangaskhan is going to take more burn damage. So Kangaskhan is going to go for the return, over-predicting here, and go through the Sacred Sword onto my Scrafty. I was pretty sure that the Shadow Claw was going to take it out. I go for the Drain Punch onto Kangaskhan, taking it out, which is, well, not taking it out, but the burn will take it out, getting lots of HP back. And now what I'm just going to do is go for the Shadow Claw onto Aegislash. Pretty sure I will KO it, the health goes down, and it lives with the Sliver, and the weakness policy activates. So now the mind games begin. Kangaskhan is going to die to its burn, luckily, so that's one Pokemon down. And now my opponent is just going to send in the Amoonguss, so I was pretty sure I've lost here. I didn't know what to do. I protected with my Trevenant because I was sure that the Shadow Ball's coming my way, and of course here I over-predict. The Amoonguss goes for the Rage Powder, and the Sacred Sword goes onto my Scrafty, and that will obviously take it out. So now things are not looking good for me in the slightest. I'm pretty sure that I've lost. Like I said, I'm going to go into my Politoed, and I'm just going to go for the Ice Beam onto the Aegislash. If Moongus wants to Rage Powder it, that's fine. It's going to take an Ice Beam, but there's no Rage Powder, so I get the Ice Beam off, and I'm thinking, what is my opponent doing? I don't really know. That's going to take off the Aegislash, so that's really good. The threat is gone. And here I'm just going to go for the Shadow Claw onto Amoonguss, hoping that I don't get any effects or anything like that. So just a Giga Drain onto Politoed, as we see. It doesn't take it out. I think that'd be, what would that be, like a 4-hit KO or something like that? I don't know, but dealing a lot of damage anyways and getting all of its health back. So that's really unfortunate. In comes Garchomp. I knew it was going to be a Lumchomp, but I go for the Protect onto my Politoed just to negate the Giga Drain, and here I make a pretty bad play on my part, but I still wanted it. Garchomp's going to go for the Rock Slide, and I'm hoping that there's no flinches on my Trevenant so I can safely set up the Trick Room. But now I'm thinking, oh great, but if I set it up then Amoonguss is going to outspeed. So here I'll solve with my Rotom just to fodder it off, and as we saw, I got the flinch last turn, which is really unfortunate. Amoonguss is just going to stick with the Rage Powder, and all I'm going to do now is just go for the Trick Room, as I said. Garchomp's going to go for the Dragon Claw onto my Rotom, which is going to take it out. But I was just, as I said, foddering it off, and I get the Trick Room up. So this is bad, because now I know that Amoonguss is going to outspeed and take out my Politoed. So in comes Politoed. I'm just going to Protect to negate one Giga Drain. Garchomp is going to go for the Protect also. Amoonguss is going to go for the Giga Drain onto the Politoed's Protect, and I go for the Willow onto Garchomp's Protect. So there's a Giga Drain taking out my Politoed. As I said, I knew that was going to come. It was just that I really wanted to get my Will-O-Wisps off. So I go for the Will-O-Wisp onto Garchomp, which will make him eat his Lumberry, as we'll see here. That was rather unfortunate to see, but I know that next turn, if I can land it, I will get the burn off onto him. So the Dragon Claw is taking me really low down to my Citrus. I'm going to eat that Citrus Berry and get back up to half, and now the rain is going to end, and I'm going to harvest another one. So just sticking with the Rage Powder. I guess my opponent does not know that doesn't affect me, but oh well. I get the second Will-O-Wisp onto the Garchomp was really great, so now it's not going to be doing any damage, and I know that Amoonguss does not have the Sludge Bomb, or else I would have gone for it already. So the Dragon Claw is going to take me down really low, but the Citrus will bring me back up to half, which is nice. Garchomp is going to be taking more residual damage, and here is where it gets really long. So Amoonguss is going to go for the Giga Drain, not doing a lot, just barely bringing me below half. I'm going to go for the Will-O-Wisp onto Amoonguss for residual damage, and Amoonguss avoids it, which is pretty unfortunate, but oh well. So I know that next turn, if I do not harvest a berry this turn, I will be going down. So the Twisted Dimensions return to normal. So I go for Protect here, hoping to harvest a berry. Garchomp is going for the Dragon Claw onto my Protect, and Amoonguss's Giga Drain is going onto my Protect also. Garchomp is going to be taking more residual damage, and even though it's a burned Garchomp and stuff, I know that I'll still go down. So luckily, I scored the double Protect, and I need to harvest this turn, or else my chances of winning are very, very slim. Garchomp is going to take more residual damage, bringing it down to half, which is really nice, and I harvest a berry. That's what I really needed. I really needed that harvest that turn, or else I was most likely done for. So here the Garchomp is going to protect, but that's fine because I am not going for it. I am going for the Will-O-Wisp onto a Moongus just for residual damage, and eventually I can just take it out with Shadow Claws and hoping that I don't get any effect spores. So the Giga Drain onto Trevenant isn't doing a lot, as I said, just barely enough damage. Garchomp is taking more residual damage, and now so is this Amoonguss, but after the leftovers, it's going to take a while for that Amoonguss to whittle down. So here I'm going to protect with my Trevenant, hoping to just harvest another berry, and then Shadow Claw the Amoonguss to slowly take it out. So Mungus, as I said, is going to get more leftover recovery, but not boosting it up to the point where Burn won't harm it. Burn takes away more than leftovers gain, so that's really good. Here I harvest another berry, which is awesome. I'm going to eat it, bringing me way up over half, and I'm pretty confident about this match now. At first I wasn't, but now I'm feeling really great. The Dragon Claw just bringing me down below half. I go for my Shadow Claw onto a Moongus, doing a nice bit of damage actually. Moongus is Giga Drain, as I said, not doing a lot, around 20 damage. Healing up a little bit of HP, but the burn will still be taking more than what it's gaining. So Moongus gaining a little bit of leftovers recovery, Garchomp taking a lot of recoil, and so is that Amoonguss actually. That the little bit of residual damage really helps in the end. I'm going to harvest another berry, and get it to bring me up above half. Trevenant honestly is my favorite 6th gen Pokemon for its pure tankiness and Will-O-Wisp and Trick Room. So my opponent forfeits because he knows that he is going to lose. That was a really drawn out battle, but I was just trying out Politoed, and that game, honestly, my opponent deserved it, but I just got a bit lucky. So anyways, that was a great match, and thanks for watching.